I'm about to turn 28, and with 30 just around the corner, it feels like time is speeding up. And along with that, the pressure to hit certain milestones. And we all start feeling it, right? Like, where should I be financially by now? Am I behind? And it's tough to really know where you stand when you're in your own little bubble. You're probably scrolling through Instagram or watching friends hit big milestones and hit big life moments, but that's just a highlight reel. So in today's video, we're diving into the finances of the average 30-year-old in the UK. We're going to break down their net worth, including savings, investments, property, and even cars, and much more. And I'll also be sharing in this video where I'm at personally. And spoiler, like most of us, I made a lot of financial mistakes in my early 20s, but I also made some good moves. But now approaching 30, it's definitely become a real focus for me, and I want to see how I measure up against everyone else. And more importantly, where should we aim to be? So what should a typical 30-year-old in the UK have in the bank or tied up in assets? Well, today we're diving into the average and the median net worth for this age group to see how you compare. Are you ahead, behind, or right on track? Well, this data, it comes from Nimble Fins, and they're using stats from the ONS Household Net Worth Report. They've adjusted the numbers to focus on individual net worth versus household net worth. So while these are estimates, it gives us a good idea of where the average 30-year-old stands financially. It's also worth noting that this is based on the 30 to 34-year-old range, so if you're a little bit behind these numbers, you've a couple more years to catch up. The average net worth of a 30 to 34-year-old in the UK is £90,370. But here's the thing. Averages can be misleading because they're pulled up by those with extremely high wealth. That's why we use the median. This gives us a much clearer picture of what most people actually have. The median net worth is £56,348, which is a much more realistic figure to aim for. Now, to some that might seem high, but you have to consider what that net worth calculation is actually made up of. So your net worth is simple. It's what you own minus what you owe. The ONS breaks this down into 4 different categories. Number 1 is physical wealth. This is your possessions, your car, your TV, your jewelry. Number 2 is property wealth. So that's your net property wealth, value of your house, minus your remaining mortgage balance. Number 3 is private pension wealth, so any money you pay into a pension, for example through an employee match scheme at your work. And the last one is financial wealth, which is what most of us think about, which is cash in the bank, stock investments, etc., minus any consumer debt such as credit cards. So let's take a look at how that median net worth of $56,348 breaks down. When it comes to physical wealth, think about the stuff that you own. The stuff that you've accumulated over the last 10 years, your car, maybe some jewelry like engagement or wedding rings, and laptops, TVs, gadgets, all that other random gear that we accumulate over time. It's surprising how much value is actually tied up in these things if you were to sell them all. On average, it's £14,494, which is a significant amount of money. That said, you've accumulated a lot of this stuff over the past 10 years, and it does add up. Property wealth also seems to be about right for this age bracket at £12,360. Your first house might cost you 200 to 250k. You and your partner split a 10 to 15% deposit. 12,360 seems about right here. At that age range, you probably haven't owned the house long enough to really build much more equity than that. And if you rent, you're obviously significantly behind in this category. And if you are, hopefully, you have a bit more money saved in the next category. That is financial wealth, and this is where things get real. In today's economy, many of us are feeling cash poor. After paying the mortgage, car loans, and setting aside pension contributions, there's often not much left in the bank for saving. In terms of private pension wealth, it's £10,674 for the median. Now, if you have been working from say 22, 23, or 24, you've been contributing to your pension right through to your early 30s, that number seems about right. Now, if you're someone who has been maximizing your employee contributions, you can probably expect this to be a little bit higher for you. So that's the median across all 4 categories. Now, those numbers are the median for each individual category and will not sum to give us the median of the total net worth, because that's just not how medians work. But it gives us a rough idea of what you can expect people to have in each category and see how you stack up. So what does this all mean for you? Well, seeing that the median net worth for someone in their early 30s is around 56,348 might seem high, maybe even low, depending on your own situation. But here's the key takeaway. Everyone's financial journey is different. First, perspective matters. A lot of that net worth is tied up in things like cars, pension, and houses, not just sitting in a bank account. So if you feel like you're behind because you don't have a huge amount of savings or stocks, remember that most people in this age range really don't either. Instead, they're building equity slowly through homeownership or their pension. Second, it's never too late to take control of your financial future. The good news is that your 30s are often the decade where most people start to really gain momentum. Paying off any debts that you have and getting that to zero, saving more, and really starting to invest for the future. So whether you're ahead or behind or right on track, the important thing is to focus on really building your financial habits now. Make that change now. So now that you have a sense of where the average 30-year-old stands financially, what can you do if you feel like you're not quite there yet? Here are a few simple steps that you can take to improve your net worth. One is to focus on paying down high interest debt first, like credit cards, because that's a liability that directly eats into your net worth every month. Number two is to start building an emergency fund. Even small contributions over time add up and allows you to be much more comfortable in your day-to-day financial life. The third one is to start investing, whether that's maximizing any employer contributions your employer's giving you or just continuing to invest in your own ISA or private pension. These small but effective actions can help you start building financial stability and really growing your net worth over time. If you feel cash poor or your net worth isn't where you want it to be right now, don't worry. There's still plenty of time. You're in your early days. So if you want to get more practical tips on boosting your financial wealth, be sure to check out this video on how to manage your money on payday. So how does this compare to where I currently am in my own journey? So now that we've seen what the average 30-year-old's finances look like, let's put my own net worth to the test, put it on the table, and see how I compare. Spoiler alert, there is a bit of a gap, but I'll explain why. So I'm going to exclude my company from my net worth as it's outside of my own personal wealth and doesn't give an accurate representation of personal wealth that I've built through my income over the last 7 to 10 years. Here's where I stand as I approach 30. My total personal net worth looks like this. For possessions, I've estimated it at around £10,000. For property wealth, I put down £37,500 as a deposit on my house. Since then, I've probably paid off about £10,000 in equity through my mortgage payments each month. And then I've also gained about £50,000 roughly in equity. It could vary 10k either side, but that's where I'm guesstimating it at. So about $50,000 in equity since I bought the house back in 2019. This gives me a total of $97,500 tied up in property. In terms of pension wealth, I only have about $6,400 in a pension. I only started contributing to that last year. And then in financial net worth, I have about £5,000 equity in my car. So that's the value of the car minus the current loan on it. I also have about $15,000 in cash. And then where most of my wealth is in my stocks. So I have about $122,500 invested through an ISA in mainly index funds, and in the future I'll do a video breaking down my full portfolio, but that's roughly where my net worth is and what it's made up with. So that gives me a total personal wealth of £256,400. Compared to the median net worth, it is quite a bit higher, but I was able to benefit from a few different scenarios throughout my 20s and the last 10 years. One, I started my own business, which allowed me to make more money than I probably would have staying in my corporate career at the time. Number two, I was able to save that money to purchase a home and also lock in an extremely low mortgage rate for around 7 years. And that gave me a large increase in my net worth from that appreciation of my house as well. And then the pandemic allowed me to heavily invest as my income stayed the same and we spent very little money during those 2 years. I was able to max out my ISAs and pretty much put away extra money on top of that as well. So those couple of years really accelerated my saving. These days I work as an online business broker, so my income is a bit more stable than the roller coaster of entrepreneurship. But regardless of how much I've made, the principles stay the same. Spend less than I earn and invest the difference. So as long as every month I can put something away, I'm happy. I'm gaining wealth. I'm building up my portfolio. And I know over time, yes, it's going to go up and down, but if I'm still contributing each month, over time, that stock portfolio will give me the freedom to retire or live off the dividends. So hopefully this was a valuable video for you. If it was, please give it a like. Check out some of the links down below in the description So let me know how your net worth stacks up against the medians here from the ONS. Go ahead and let me know in the comments. Now, I'm not sure when actually calculating net worth that I would include possessions, even a car, and sometimes even a house. Like, yes, there's obviously value in it, and there's value in it compared to someone who is renting, but if I was ever to sell this house, that equity is kind of just evaporates into nothing because I have to go and buy another house. If I was to go and buy another house, you know, that house is going to also have increased at the same rate as this one. So I'm likely not really going to have made anything there. But obviously compared to someone who's renting and isn't getting any appreciation at all, it gives me more buying power. So it's kind of sustained my buying power in the housing market by being able to get in 2019. So let me know your thoughts down below on, you know, your net worth, how you stack up and how you're planning to maybe exceed. If you're watching these videos, I imagine a lot of you guys are ahead of what these statistics say. So I'm interested to see once you post them. See you guys in the next video.